Hello everyone, welcome again to another horrific review. Here we go, another strange little one for you. Start off, actually really like this, and then it kind of fell off a cliff randomly for some reason. So tonight we're talking about The Darkness, or as originally put out as Dorcha. I don't understand why they changed the title, because The Darkness is the most generic title you can think of for a movie. Don't know what's going on there. I mean, you type in The Darkness and the band comes up before any movies do, and games and anthologies and everything that's ever been associated with horror ever. Blah, before you even get a chance to see this movie. I just cut off chance that, as I said, this is the whole point, and I'm just picking random movies that are horror related, done in the last couple of years, and just going for it. So, interesting plot. We've got a couple, it's centered around a couple who, Lisa and David, married couple who are English, even though the character Lisa starts off with an American accent and then transitions to English. Is very, very strange. The accents are all messed up in this movie. Very generic, over the top. In your face, slightly virgin and cringe. But the idea is that the English couple, they go to Ireland for a holiday because David's been left the property. So they're going to go and stay in it and check it out. Fair enough. Start off, I actually like these characters. That was the thing. I like Lisa and David. They play good parts. They come across as a couple. They've got that kind of chemistry between them. So that's good. The plot itself starts off pretty solidly. It's a good movie. So what we've got is, turns out there's like a family secret, and David's grandmother's still alive. They've got her in a hospital, I think, in Ireland. No, I think she's in England. So they've all moved over from her, basically grandparents onwards, moved from Ireland to England, and that kind of thing. It was a bit difficult to kind of pick apart at the start, just the way the movie bounces a bit, but you get there in the end. So Willa's cottage, lovely cottage, out in the grounds. What does David do? He's a professional. He's making deals and stuff. One of them ones that are making deals, but you don't know what they're doing. That they didn't quite go into it. Lisa's a writer. She's exploring the cottage. She's trying to get inspiration for her next book. So she's already had. She's a new author. She's had her first book. Really took off, but it was a romantic comedy. So even though it took off, it's not what she wants to write. She's got that itch to create something. We've all been there. I'm still trying to scratch it, for some sake. Beating head against a brick wall to one, but enough about me. That's not what this is about. So she's looking around the cottage and the grounds, and she comes across a chest, and then it's a dairy. And the dairy belongs to a girl called Neve. And Neve's telling her story of living with, what's his name? Bloke. Yeah, bloke. We'll go for bloke, because a lot of names in this and stuff, and it bounces back and forward in time, because what we're seeing here is the narrative of the story. As Lisa reads the diary, she hears the story of this girl, and then we'll kind of go back to that time and get snippets. It was actually done quite nicely and well. That's why the ending really disappointed me, because this is a chance to be an indie an indie movie that was solid and told a good story the whole way through. And given its limitation to be an indie movie, we're not expecting Hollywood level budget acting effects. We know we're not going to get that with indie movies, but everyone has to start somewhere. So that's why I'm trying to encourage people, give these a chance. Anything that's outside, outside the mainstream, or somebody's first crack at the whip, if you don't give them a chance, how are they ever going to, you know what I mean? We're seeing the sludge, you know, Hollywood's become lazy, bloated, just full of nepotism, and no interest in actually the audience, the customer. So that's why I'm on this kind of journey to search through these movies and get it. And thanks, Steve, earlier on for your suggestion. If I can find a horror-related version of Paw Patrol, I'll give it a crack. I still think the Teletubbies, though, is more sinister and frightening. But yeah, when I asked, I've been asking these videos for suggestions for movies, and that's what I get. Great to have mates like that, eh? But anyway, another tangent. So what we have here is Neve's kind of telling her story. This inspires Lisa to write, and then she starts asking in the village, you know, who's the researcher, who's like the lore smith, because in small Irish villages, there's always like the lore person. There's always somebody that keeps the genealogy records, genealogy, sorry, great pronunciation there. And you know, it's always interesting because small little hamlets history is a big thing because you tend to find it's like generational people, you know, family after family have grown up there and all that good stuff. So she's on this kind of journey, find out. But as things goes along, she start getting operations. You know, they're trying to figure out what it is. She thinks she's losing her mind. You know, just things jumping up and all. And once again, not done terrible. You know, I've talked about movies where they use jump scares and all that, and they're done really crap. This wasn't bad. You know, they're kind of fitted. You know that she's obviously awakened something. It's a good thing they find a grave on the grounds, like right in front of the house, and it's the old tradition that basically got buried, and there's a bell down to the grave in case people were buried prematurely. You know, and they're actually bringing up the term "saved by the bell" because technology wasn't what it was, medical standards weren't what they were, the abilities, you know what I mean? Everyone's trying to say this is the worst time we live in right now, but people actually got buried alive, and it was a common occurrence that they had to go to that, you know, those lengths because, yeah, that was just the way the world was. Not people's fault because obviously once people had the opportunity to progress, get where we are now. So I always argue against that kind of oh, we're living in the worst times ever, miserable. It's like I think people got it too soft now. They just look for misery. But anyway, I'm full of tangents tonight. But this is kind of short movie anyway. But what we'll have is start to see these operations and then start to tell. It's a ghost story, but it's also using a bit of local folklore. So if you're not familiar, fairies in the British Isles, they're not the sparkly little like mini human figures with wings and glitter like what do you call that thing out the Peter Pan Tinkerbell? They're not that like cute cuddly things. They're actually vicious creatures. And one of the things the fairies were known for doing was actually swapping babies and putting the known as changelings. So basically, they would go and steal a baby, put their own offspring in, changing, and then the family would rear its own. But like you know, cuckoos. You know, a cuckoo will lay one of its eggs in the nest, and then the cuckoo kicks the other ones out. Well, it's kind of based on that, you know, in mythology. We'll start to find out from the history that Roisin, oh God, I wish I'd written his name down, but she falls in love. Sorry, Neve falls in love with this fella who's utterly charming, brings her in, but it turns out his previous wife, Mary, died, and he wants to use her body to resurrect his wife, who was taken with polio, I think. And he plans to make an offering to the fairies. and he goes to a local witch. So we're getting a bit of a mix here. It can be hard to keep track of if you're not into, but uh, basically you've got the witch in the woods, and the witch is always the conduit to the local creatures. That's kind of the way mythology works. So you'd never approach these creatures directly, or else you're done for. Basically, you use the witch as an arbiter. That's why they never killed witches; they banished them initially, and it was only until the Puritans came, started bringing witchfinder generals, tried to purge witches. In a mythological sense, obviously historically things, but generally, it was like Native American tribes would do as well. If nobody would claim a widow, she'd be banished from the tribe. That's like the same practice. These are ancient Aboriginal tribes would carry out those practices. So if somebody's no good to the pack, animal, we're all animals at the end of the day, and it's the same thing. So if you've got a weak member of the pack, too old, then they get left behind. So essentially, a witch in real terms was, old crow, no family, and will get banished, out the woods to kind of make out existence. And then that's where the mythology of witches, the witch in the woods come from. But we've got a witch in the woods here. This guy approaches a witch to petition to use, basically use this girl as a vehicle to bring his wife back. It's that whole tragedy, he's doing it out of love, but he's an evil bastard because he's enticed a young girl into his life. And allegedly, Neve's supposed to be from Belfast. Yeah. Like I said, the accents are messed up in this. They're pretend Irish accents and regional, it's a bit hard to listen to. It's like when Americans try to do Irish accents or tell you they're Irish, it's that kind of painful. But you gloss over it because actually the bones of the story is quite good. Goes the witch, he's told what to do. He makes the offering. So if you know witchcraft, the most powerful thing you can have is a piece of someone. Hair, nail clippings, blood, obviously the most precious, tears, saliva. If you have a part of a person's body, you can basically cast a spell, you can own them. So what he had done is he had taken a lock of her hair, did what he was told, made the offering so that the fairies would come for her. And this all transpires. You see that sort of at the beginning there's a wee bit of a intro scene. I always forget about those intro scenes because it seems to be a bit of a pattern of starting in the middle or sometimes maybe just starting the movie and explaining it's better. Seems to be bit of a trend in the last few movies I've watched. They always stick as like intro scene of either in the feature or event or almost a spoiler, where you're better just having a linear story sometimes. Especially like short indie ones. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try and do too much. I'm just saying this as an audience member. I'm no expert. I haven't made any films. Funny enough, actually, the director, turns out he worked in IT and databases until he decided to make movies. So there's hope for me yet. Man after my own heart. It's weird. The working in that sort of field is the most bland, boring, sterile crap, but it's good money on it. But if you're anyway creative, it's a death to you. It genuinely is, because those sort of jobs as well, you kind of have to live in those jobs. It's not a case of you just go and do it. You're expected to hang out with the same people, stay late, be on call, be studying all the time because I'm out of date now. It's only been a couple of years, but if you're not constantly studying the latest trends and writing code all the time, you eat, live, and sleep database design and generally IT services. It's but if you're a creative person, it destroys you because it's not where you want to be. So I get fair play to the director, Tharun Mohan. Another one just he did what he needed to. He did his career in IT and databases, and then he said, "No, that's not what I want to do." So it was a means to an end. So here's the thing, folks. This guy's example of this movie: just follow your dreams. It's nice to have money. It's nice to have a career, but if that thing is the very thing that you're requiring to live is killing you, don't do it. Don't live above your means. Don't get yourself into a position where, and you see this with megastars, right? You could be earning £1 million a week, but if your expenses are 999,000, you're no better off than somebody on minimum wage, if that makes sense. So, tip for life is, because I know when I've cut right back the last couple of years, and I'm actually happier because I've got more options and I can concentrate in time doing this. So I'm not sitting on flipping laptops, turning away, learning stuff just to stay relevant, and make myself miserable. So live within your means. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. Find that balance in life. And if you can find a way to have a creative outlet, that's what this whole channel is about. If you can find a way to have a creative outlet, bloody do it, because you don't have to be famous. You don't have to be rich of it. But having that outlet mentally is only good for you. Me sitting here yapping in front of this, even if nobody watches it, it's doing me the world of good, because rather I could sit here and watch 3-4 movies in a row, just blandly go along, but I'm thinking, I'm going over the plot, I'm looking for patterns, and then I'm trying to articulate and speak and give it out to you guys my thoughts. Don't want to be nasty about it because there's too many channels like that. What's the point? Sorry if it's not exciting, but I'm just I want you to explore movies and make up your own mind. I'll never tell you what to watch or not watch. Just go with it. It's any his opinion. If you kind of watch movies and you come to the same conclusion I do, then I'm glad I helped. If you have the opposite one, that's actually almost as useful. There's somebody I did follow for a while, and every time she reviewed a movie, it'd be the opposite of what I thought. So I knew if she liked the movie, I wouldn't. That's almost as useful, if that makes sense. If she didn't like a movie, there's a good chance I was going to. Cameron and me, you see us button heads at times going, the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's almost as valuable, because that's Freddy's the spice of life. We don't want to be just mindless automatons all being programmed the same way. That's how boring is that? So back to the movie. We'll see this all transpire. Meanwhile, Lisa she's in the grip of this diary, and she's actually starting to degenerate. She's starting to lose her grip in reality because it's actually got a hold of her. She goes and starts looking and actually dressing up the same. She finds a chest of clothes and a necklace, and she starts to effectively lose her way. This is kind of this is the bit where I don't know whether it's a revenge story by the ghost or a cry for help. It's a bit of both, because what we'll have here effectively is a girl leaves. She was wronged, and her soul was stolen out of her body. We didn't get to see what happened with Mary because something went wrong with the ritual. We didn't quite see it, but he didn't do it in the right way, and things got messed up. And then we've now got the vengeful spirit wanting peace. So what they do is they start unpacking, and then it turns out David's the direct descendant of these people. So this whole story, they couldn't find Neve any records of her, and turns out she was a waif. Like I said, the brother from Belfast. She sounds Belfast, and I'm flipping Jamaican. That's how bad the accents are. And that's kind of where it goes. So what effectively happens is they have to right the wrong and essentially find Neve's body and return it in the sacred ground, so to speak, hallowed ground, and give her peace. there was no it's not your typical, out to kill. This was actually really nicely done, as in a cry for help. Lisa becoming enamored, but not really harmed. You know what I mean? It wasn't being set up that she was being harmed. That's what I was getting from it anyway. So it wasn't like Neve was trying to take over Lisa and live life on the earth now as it is now. Busy trying to cry out for help. So that was cool. They work together, they get it, and delay Neve the rest. This is where the movie gets messed up, and like I said, it just falls off a cliff, and it's such a shame because, as you can probably tell, I was on board. I was on board up to sort of the last point. Neve, while she's possessed, goes in the room and sees David's phone. Now, throughout this, there's been no indication that David's up to anything nefarious. He's working, he's diligent, they're a loving couple. That was all cool. And you're allowed to, it seems to be a thing with, modern, because this weird culture we've got going on at the moment where nobody's allowed to be happy, everything must be antagonistic, we all must live miserably, this weird cult that's jumping on everyone. So a couple isn't allowed to be happy. So it turns out Neve discovers that David's cheating on her. Just dropped right out of nowhere towards the end of the movie. And there was no indication, no reason they were happy. It was just thrown in there. Like, it really was like just taking a big boulder and dropping it in the lake and just causing chaos. I just, like I said, it just came out of nowhere. But still, they worked together. She didn't run away from him and made herself vulnerable. So there was no plot purpose to this revelation. And then right at the end of the movie, after they've led Neve to rest and they're driving away, it goes like a weird flashback scene of all the times when he's sitting with her in a cafe and he's saying it's work, but it's this girl called Nicole or Rachel is ringing him. And then we see him on the laptop and it's going back and then whoosh, screen in. He's actually sending lengthy emails. It's really, really weird. And that ruined this movie for me because there's no use to the plot. Didn't help anything. And all it did was just ruin actually the nice ending of a movie where they'd encountered the ghost, led it to rest, the right or wrong of ancestors, so to speak, and could move on a bit wiser in the world and knowing that there's more to this life, being aware of the other realm. What's wrong with that movie? But what they did is they bring this bit in and then bring all this issues in the car, and then you look in the rear mirror and wow, fade the credits, Spurn appears, and you're like, what the hell? Really disappointing. Oh, hi Dale. Yeah, it's actually a good movie. Actually, you just jumped on as I'm just finishing up here. But it's actually a really good movie. And done really well. It's a nice story for an indie movie, really good. But that bit at the end, where they just decide to drop a bomb that David was cheating on her with somebody, and no indication, and then a stupid jump scare thing at the end, just undid all the work, all the world building, all the work that went into the movie. It just undid it in that like brief 2 scenes, which was a shame. If I could re-edit and just take those bits out and just have them drive off into the moonlight, on their lives, it'd be a satisfying end to a good movie. But yeah, it's worth watching. Look up Dorcha rather than The Darkness because you'll find it quicker. Because honestly, you type in The Darkness, you get all sorts. But that's it. Yeah, it's worth checking out. If you get a different takeaway from me, leave a note in the comments. If you've picked up something different than I have, let me know. If you feel the same way, yeah, let me know as well. It'd be cool to get people's take on it because, for the most part, I enjoyed this movie. I just thought it was spoiled at the end, which was a damn shame. damn shame, because it was actually you've seen the ones I've watched recently there, and I've panned them, and I'm just like, wasn't enjoying myself. This one it was, and just a real shame. But there you go. That is my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Look out the movie in your eye where you are, and sorry, sinuses are playing up just as I'm coming to the end of the live stream. Perfect. Nice and professional as always. But yeah, check out the movie. Let me know what you think. Keep an eye on our channel for all our other stuff coming up. We're always busy. And until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.